In the last video we made our pumpkin, and now we can carve a face into it. So I wanted to show you what we need to do to carve a face. So we're working with our layer stack again, and that's one thing I really like about this project. It gives us a lot of practice using our layer stack. Again, whatever is on top of the layer stack is in the front, whatever is at the bottom is in the back. So for instance, if we kind of hide by clicking on the eye what's at the back here, we see that this little shape is in the front, and then there's another larger shape, and then a larger one, and then our round circle that we started off with. And then we've got our background, and then I put just a reminder of the free transform that we used to resize some of these circles. That was a big thing in the first video that I wanted you to catch there. So now we're going to carve, and to do that we need to have our selection tools. They are at the top of our toolbar over here, and specifically we need the polygonal lasso tool. So make sure you can get to that. You might just see the regular lasso, right click on the button here, and then you can see the hidden tools behind the whatever is showing on the main button, right? And that's how all of this toolbar works. It's awesome because there are a lot of tools, but it doesn't take up a lot of space. So go to the polygonal lasso tool, select that. We're going to use that. We're also going to need some white paint on our foreground color. So come down here to the color picker and choose your foreground color, and just click on that, just a regular left click. And with that foreground color picker, just choose white so you have that ready, and you'll see that now that's in our front color here. And then the other thing we'll need is the paint bucket eventually. So come up here, paint is in the middle of your toolbar. It might be behind the gradient tool if that's what we used last. So go to paint bucket, and then you'll see the paint bucket here. So we're kind of set up to be ready to work. All right, for the face, we need to first of all add a new layer to our stack here. So come down here to the little plus sign down here at the bottom by where your time is in your window, and click plus. That's create a new layer. And you'll notice we have now layer 1 here. And it might have popped up for you in the middle of your layer stack. Just move it up so you can drag layers up and down. And that's what's another really cool thing about the layer stack, is that you can rearrange things. So with our layer 1, we're going to name that layer face. To rename a layer, just double click in the label here, layer 1, and just type in the word face. That way you know right which layer to go to if you need to make changes to your face. So I just clicked out of that to set that, so face is there. Then find your polygonal lasso tool, and we're going to carve a face into our pumpkin. So just, with the eyes, I'm going to go ahead and just put regular triangles. You have to close the shape in order to select it, and you'll know that it is closed when it starts doing this little dancing dots marquee thing. And then hold your shift key down, and then that'll allow you to keep selecting parts of your face here. So I'm holding the shift key down. All right. If you decide you've carved this and you're like, I just don't like it, hit Control D to deselect, and then you can start over. All right, so just kind of working with that, deselecting if you did something you didn't quite want to do. This is not working for me, so Control D, and then you can kind of start over with that. All right, so kind of just choose your face here, and then once we have all of our shapes here and they all have the little marquee going on, we'll come in with our white paint and dump paint into this whole selection. So if you're at that place, you can go ahead and grab your paint bucket and just tap in any one of these shapes that we have going on and dump white paint in it. And I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I get this figured out here. All right. Grabbing my paint bucket, and then just dump white paint. You already set up the white right here. And then hit Control D to deselect. And there I've got my face. All right, with that face, now we're going to start making layer styles. So if you are still carving, you can pause the video and pick up with the layer style. But we're going to go ahead and move on with that. So double clicking the layer to open layer styles. I have to click away from the label. All right, and with this one in your instructions here, and again, I have these posted at Classroom for you. So if you go into Classroom, you can see we're gonna work with inner shadow and gradient overlay. So with that, let me get back to my project here. So we're going to choose inner shadow. That's the first one we'll work with. Again, drag this box away from your project, and right off the bat you can see I kind of have a shadow going on, and it adds some depth to my pumpkin face here. So with that inner shadow, I can kind of change the opacity. So play around with that. You can make it really subtle or make it really stark. It's up to you. You can change the color if you want. The black kind of adds kind of a dramatic effect there, but you know, you can make your inner shadow whatever color you want it to be. But I'm going to go ahead and stick with kind of just the standard kind of black or gray. And then the angle, if you move angle, you can kind of see how that affects a little bit. The big ones here, distance, will make it look a little different as far as like a glow from a candle. And then the choke changes it a little bit, and the size. So kind of play around with those visually, just kind of get to a place that you think looks good there with your inner shadow. The next one we're going to do is a gradient overlay. So if you want to kind of still mess with your shadow, pause the video and then you can pick it up on the next step. So going on to gradient overlay for the sake of our project here though, we're going to add kind of some color now in there. And we're using a gradient. Gradient is simply, you know, two or more colors coming together to kind of add an effect. Again, using opacity. You can change the scale a little bit, so that changes how much of one color is put in there. And then the angle will affect, right now it's orange at the top and then kind of yellow at the bottom. And the angle, if you change that, it's going to make it to where, like, if you wanted the orange on one side and the yellow on one side. I'm going to go ahead and leave it with the yellow at the top and the orange in the bottom. But you can kind of set that up however you want. To work with the gradient itself, you can always click on that and then make some changes to the gradient, or choose different colors of gradients. You have different presets here. And you can also create your own, but we're going to go ahead and just go with a preset here. I chose oranges. And so if yours is coming in black and white, you can come in here to the presets and choose some of the ones that Photoshop already has kind of set up for you here. All right, and that's kind of a quick way to add a gradient to a project. I might just go with the purple on that one. So go ahead and do that. Again, to open up that gradient, you can just double click on it, and then you can kind of, you know, choose different types of colors if you'd like for your gradient in there. All right, let me get back to my oranges here. And then that's it as far as applying a gradient. I'm going to click OK on that. So now I've got the depth that's added in with the inner shadow, and the gradient overlay kind of adds some of the color in there. When you get that to where you like it, click OK. And now I'm going to go ahead and get out of this video. We're going to add in a background, put on a name here, and bend our pumpkin in the next video. So if you're done with this one, go ahead and save where you're at and pick up on video 3.